Hey guys, Sausage here. If you're watching this right now, I assume you know Onslaught is coming to Destiny 2 in a few days. Or maybe it's already out and you're watching this after the fact. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Let's jump right in. I have a feeling that Bungie developed this new activity with Stasis in mind. Everyone knows Stasis is the black sheep of the subclass family, and try as they might, Bungie just cannot make Stasis a fun or viable build. At least for Titans anyway. But after seeing the live stream showing off Onslaught, I got the idea that since a wave-based defense mode is, well, made to be played defensively, and Stasis being pretty damn good at crowd control, maybe this would be it. Maybe this would be Stasis' time to shine. So that brought me to my next thought. What weapons and loadout would I use? Well, I saw two builds online for Hunters and Warlocks. Sorry, Titans. That both use Wicked Implement. The issue here is that I actually do not have the catalyst for Wicked Implement. So if I don't have it, I assume other people also don't have it. And I want to show you just how simple it is to get. First, grab a fire team and load up a deep dive. Once in the deep dive, you'll want to find a floating ball of light after laying down your egregore resonator like you would with any other deep dive. Once you find the floating ball of light, all three members of your fire team must interact with it. This will cause you to invoke darkness. When you invoke darkness, one of three things will happen. First, pools of taken energy will spawn on the ground and you will need to stand in them to dispel them. Second, taken blights will spawn in the air in which you just need to shoot them. Or third, a taken bubble will spawn and you will need to go in and shoot it. After doing that, you will have a message pop up saying darkness invoked. With this, you have activated the first pressure trial. From here, it is just a DPS race to defeat all the enemies within the time limit. Once you complete this challenge, you can move on to the next room and rinse and repeat. Find the floating ball of light, everyone interact, clear the taken blight in whatever form it is, and kill the enemies within the time limit. The pressure trial is nothing more than extra enemies, though the enemies are stronger, and you are not granted extra time either. If you finish the trial before the time limit ends, you will be granted reward tiers. You get one reward tier from completing the base stage, and a second reward tier from completing the optional Invoke Darkness challenge. The only way to guarantee for the catalyst to drop is to finish all three challenges and get reward tier 7. Though some people have claimed to be able to get the catalyst to drop from only completing a single Invoke Darkness challenge, giving them reward tier 5. Tier 5 is from completing only one challenge, 3 tier rewards for the base stages and 2 for the first challenge. The next 2 challenges only give 1 tier reward, which explains the 3, 5, 6, and 7 reward tiers. After acquiring the catalyst, you need to kill a bunch of enemies to complete the catalyst. I recommend going to the Grasp of Avarice and spending an hour or so killing Thrall, but I understand if that's too boring and you just want to complete it through other means. Whatever works best for you, Guardian. But what does the catalyst do? Well, the base gun is nice because it has Creeping Attrition and Tithing Harvest. Creeping Attrition says that rapidly landing precision hits causes targets to become slowed, and Tithing Harvest says while Creeping Attrition is active, destroying stasis crystals or landing precision final blows creates stasis shards. The stasis shards return to you, and collecting the shards refills the magazine. Yeah, we know that, Sausage, but what about the catalyst? The catalyst has 2 perks. Hadopelagic Tribute, and Headstone. Hadopelagic Tribute allows you to collect stasis shards just like Tithing Harvest, but the difference is that the perk allows you to gradually overflow the magazine, while Headstone states that precision final blows spawn a stasis crystal at the victim's location. How does this pair with builds? Well, for Hunters, we're using Renewal Grasps, which causes our Duskfield grenades to have a much larger AoE, and allies inside that radius take reduced damage, as well as targets inside the radius dealing reduced damage as well. For our aspects, we have Touch of Winter and Grim Harvest. Touch of Winter increases the AoE of Duskfield even more, as well as creating small stasis crystals on impact. Grim Harvest says that defeating slowed or frozen combatants creates stasis shards and grant melee energy when picked up by you or an ally. For fragments, we're running Whisper of Durance, Shards, Torment, Conduction, and Rending. Durance causes the duration of slow on a target to last longer, as well as increasing the duration of how long those abilities linger. Shards states that shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts grenade recharge rate, while shattering a crystal also increases the duration of this effect. Torment allows you to gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. Conduction allows nearby stasis shards to track your position. And Rending causes primary ammo weapons to do increased damage to stasis crystals and targets. But what about for warlocks? For our exotic armor, we are running Osmomancy gloves, which grant a second cold snap grenade charge, grants a faster recharge rate if we have direct impact on an enemy with our grenade, as well as causing the seeker of the grenade to travel further. As for our aspects, we're running the Ice Flare bolts and Glacial Harvest. Ice Flare Bolts says shattering a frozen target spawns seekers that track and freeze other nearby targets, while Glacial Harvest states that freezing targets create stasis shards around the frozen targets. The higher the tier combatant, the more shards that are created. As Fissures increases the damage and burst size of stasis crystals and frozen targets. Refraction states that defeating slowed or frozen targets grants class ability energy. Conduction allows nearby stasis shards to track to your position, and Rending causes primary ammo weapons to do increased damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. But wait, Sausage, why do we need Whisper of Conduction when Wicked Implement has Creeping Attrition? Trust me guys, I had the same question. After looking at it more closely, Creeping Attrition causes stasis shards to spawn only on precision kills, and only those crystals will track to you. Whisper of Conduction is for all the other crystals, so make sure you have Whisper of Conduction. That is an important fragment to have. So the whole point of these builds is to slow and freeze your targets, defeat them, then slow and freeze more targets, all while collecting those shards, which will recharge your abilities and refill your magazines so you can keep throwing those grenades and not have to worry about reloading ever again. As for your energy and heavy weapon, use whatever weapons you like best, but I'm a sucker for machine guns, so I recommend using Chain of Command with Adrenaline Junkie, Demolitionist, and Vanguard's Vindication with a boss spec equipped. Before I end the video, I want to send a shout out to these two guys here, Clapinator L and Q. I couldn't have made this video without your help. I really appreciate you guys. With that said, I cannot wait to try these new loadouts on Tuesday. If you found this guide helpful, and if you're planning on using it for Onslaught, or if you already are using it for Onslaught, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut the video here. Mahoney out.